Morning, peeps. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Thank you so much to everyone that continues to do that. Cheers. Let's get a gulp of this. I'm off to Wembley in about, it's 10 o'clock now, in about 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So in fact, by the time this video is up, I'll be at Wembley covering the England-Scotland game for TalkSport. I'm very happy to do that. Look forward to the atmosphere. I think it's going to be, hopefully, it's just a fun carnival-like atmosphere. I feel like Wembley Way, so that's like after you get out of the station at Wembley and there's that long walk to Wembley Stadium, I feel like that could be very active, if you know what I mean. Could be very active. This is England-Scotland. I hope not, but let's see. But yeah, I'm off to do that. All right, let's talk boxing. Loads of fights this weekend. You know what? When I do go to the studio, I keep talking about it because I am excited, people. I get the keys 1st of July. When I do go there, I am going to do live watch-alongs for most of these things. It's not boring, but it's kind of difficult doing the live watch-along by yourself. But I am definitely going to have someone in the studio, maybe two people in the studio with me, doing the live watch-alongs. That's the plan, to cover literally everything. So for those of you that are asking, Adi, you're not doing the live watch-along this weekend? I was thinking about doing the Teofimo Lopez one. That was a thought, but we're not doing it. No, we're not. So Jamal Charlo's fight, we're not doing that, unfortunately. Inue's fight and Munguia. A lot of people have spoken to me about Munguia's fight just because it is pretty early. Munguia Zaramata is, I think it's at 11 p.m. UK time, ring walk. Now, I don't know if that's a thing going forward for DAZN or if it's just a case of we're just trying to look for a time slot which doesn't clash with Inoue, doesn't clash with Charlo. Maybe it's that going forward. But look, loads of fights this weekend. It's going to be a good Sunday session when we look back at all the fights. But apologies for not covering any of the fights this weekend. Again, when we get to the new studio, that's something we're going to do a lot. Trust me, we're going to do a lot when we get there, just because I ain't wasting that fucking time being there doing nothing. So we will do a lot, I promise. All right, let's run through a bit of news. Something that broke a couple of days ago. I don't know if I've spoken about it. I think I did on my live, but we'll talk about it a bit more now. Is Joe Joyce versus Carlos Takam. So that fight's on July 24th. So quite smart from Frank, I think, to put it on that time, because then almost the lead in to the Fury Wilder fight card. So it's like a heavyweight, it was like an all heavyweight evening, isn't it? Evening / early morning. I don't mind it. I don't mind the fight per se. I think it's a bit of a drop, obviously, from what we thought might happen to Joe Joyce, and that was Usyk, but that's not Joe Joyce's fault. He's been at the ring a long time since he beat Daniel Dubois, and this is a good fight to, not to come back, because it's not a comeback per se for Joe Joyce, but to have a fight. I think Carlos Takam's a decent name. I think we know by now Carlos Takam's style and what he brings to the fight, and it's going to be entertaining because none of these guys take a backward step. Someone's going to have to take a backward step, but none of them do take a backward step. So I think it's a good fight. Carlos Takam's a name, and I feel like, look, if he wins, then, which I'm sure Joe Joyce will win. I really do think. I think Joe Joyce is pretty damn good, you know. Pretty damn good. I think Joe Joyce could be, and I know his resume might not say he is, but I think Joe Joyce could be a top 10 heavyweight right now. I think he probably is a top 10 heavyweight. Can't think of 10 other heavyweights that beat Joe Joyce. Not his style as well, and he seems to have an iron chin. Joe Joyce, look, say what you want about his boxing skills, and I know I've come on before and critiqued that he's a bit slow. Say what you want about that. He has a iron chin and he has a gas tank, and he can punch. I mean, yes, he might not be a fluid mover like some of the other heavyweights out there, or some of the other heavyweights from the 80s and the 90s, but park all that for a second. You can't dent him, because Daniel Dubois is considered one of the heavy hitters in the division. Daniel Dubois couldn't dent him at all. He's got a great jab. He's got that Olympic pedigree, so he's got that amateur background. He's got a gas tank, which is incredible, by the way, for a man his size. And yeah, he's got this will to win as well. So yeah, I think he's definitely a top 10 heavyweight. And I think, look, he will fight. It doesn't work like this, but he's going to be mandatory to fight the winner of Joshua Usyk. Now, will he fight the winner of Joshua Usyk? Is it that simple? No. Right? I mean, anything could happen after that, right? I mean, Fury could beat Wilder, Joshua beats Usyk, and then we start that Fury-Joshua crap again. So he might be waiting a while, but he's put himself in a position where he's very, very close to a world title shot. Very close. Just needs to get through Carlos Takam, which is no easy doing, but I think he'll do it. I think he'll do it. Michael Hunter. Disappointing, obviously, for Michael Hunter, was supposed to be fighting on the weekend. That's not happening anymore. But Michael Hunter says, I don't think Joshua beats Usyk unless he knocks him out. So you do think Joshua beats Usyk, but you think it's only by knockout. I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know. I personally think that Usyk's too small, personally. I think Joshua's too big, too strong. But look, we'll find out. This is the thing about boxing. I have no idea how this is going to play out. I mean, Joshua's the favourite going into the fight, and he's a favourite for a reason. I mean, we all know what Usyk brings to the ring. I've not been super impressed at heavyweight. Not as the way I was at cruiserweight, where I thought he just looked ridiculously good, especially against Gassiev and Tony Bellew. I thought he looked really good. And even in these other fights where it's been close, like Bradis and even Michael Hunter was a decent fight. He's going to their backyards, put it that way. So this guy doesn't fear traveling. He doesn't fear being booed. He doesn't fear any of these things. Usyk's a very, very good fighter. But is he a very, very good cruiserweight? Yes. Is he a very, very good heavyweight? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Is Joshua a very, very good heavyweight? Yes. And I feel like that defeat to Ruiz is almost giving Joshua a new lift, if I'm honest with you. I think he's taken from it what he could, and I think this is a better Joshua now, more cautious Joshua, but a better Joshua, and I think that's going to hold him in good stead going forwards. All right, what we got here? So there's a lot about the fights that are coming up. By the way, loads of fights. Lopez versus Dogbo. Jesus Christ. You know who I forgot was fighting? Rosado. I forgot that Gabe was fighting until I saw the weigh-ins yesterday. Sorry, not the weigh-ins, the final presser for Munguia, their match. And I was like, my God, Rosado's fighting. Rosado's almost like our, and I hope this doesn't come across as disrespectful, but it's almost like our Derek Chisora. Rosado's got double-digit losses, but it somehow doesn't matter because he always brings it. He always fights. How many losses? I'm thinking, this is without me checking. I'm checking now, but without me knowing, I'm going to say 14, Rosado. I'm going to say 14. Maybe not that much. Let's have a look. 13. Close. 13 defeats. In his last, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. His last 8 fights, he's lost 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Got a draw there as well. But it's weird, even in the losses, Sulecki, he caused Sulecki problems towards the end of that fight. Do you remember? Split decision lost against Jacobs, which was an awful fight. So he's not getting bashed up. Martin Murray, when he was over here, he thought he won that fight. A lot of people did. I can't remember the William Monroe fight, but he's always competitive, unless you dent him, like the way Golovkin did and Charlo did. If you don't dent him, then he's always going to be in and around. But he takes on a good amateur in this. I'm going to butcher this name. Melkuziev, I think it is. Very, very good amateur. Very good amateur. Unbeaten, 7-0. This might be one of those ones where this might be tough for Gabe. This isn't a guy that's just going to stand in the pocket and trade with him. This might be a bit tough, and I feel like this could expose Gabe for what he is, which is just a good fighter. Just a good fighter. And Gabe's 35 now. He's been in a lot of wars. So I think this could be one of those fights where Gabe just looks old. It's like, my God, Gabe looks done. This could be that, I think. But we'll see, because Gabe's always in a good fight. More fallout. Not even more fallout. A lot more about this Deontay Wilder thing. Because obviously, Deontay Wilder didn't speak at the presser, apart from when he went on the podium. But he did speak to various media outlets after. He spoke to Ellie Sekbak. Ellie Sekbak talks so much shit, doesn't he? Like I credit Ellie Sekbak for how he's grown his channel, right? One of the biggest boxing channels out there. I think he's got over 600,000 subscribers. But the nonsense it's like he arse licks the fighters more than any other like boxing journal I've seen. And look, maybe he's thinking that's the way I've got to do it, blah, blah, blah. But it's just too much. Like that interview with Deontay Wilder was just almost like an arse lick interview. Like ask him some tough questions, man. Like Jesus Christ. This is probably why I'm a massive fan of Rob Tebbit and Radio Raheem. I mean, they will ask you, and not just them, there's others, but they will ask you questions that you don't really want to hear. Like that the boxer or the promoter or the manager doesn't really want. They definitely don't fucking ask this. Anyway, back to it. Deontay Wilder is like, he chats so much crap. Like he goes on this weird tangents where that's not even the question asked. Like somehow he'll work his way around to another point. I'm thinking, is that an early sign of brain damage? Or is that just a case of, I don't want to answer your question, so I'm going to answer my question? Like Floyd does that a little bit as well. It's quite annoying, but again, I don't know if that's them being very smart and thinking, whatever question you're asking me, I'm just going to say what I want. Or it's a case of brain damage slowly. And by the way, I don't say that as a joke, because brain damage isn't a joke. But brain damage slowly but surely starting to creep in. Because he goes on these weird tangents. I don't understand. Well, I remember one thing he said about Dillian Whyte in that interview. That somehow he saw Dillian Whyte and Dillian Whyte kind of went that way. I'm telling you now. I am telling you now, people. And this is for Deontay Wilder fans as well, or any boxing fans out there. There are some boxers in the world who won't go that way. Like there's some boxers who, look, boxers are all hard men and females, all hard people in general. But there are some boxers that don't really want it like that. You know what I mean? Like, let's just keep this in the ring. Let's just, we're prize fighters. Let's fight in the... I'm telling you now, Dillian Whyte runs to the fire. Chisora runs to the fire. I've been around those two in particular. And I say Chisora, he didn't even mention Chisora, but he mentioned Dillian Whyte. But I thought, let me just add Chisora into it because those two are always intertwined. He mentioned Dillian Whyte almost running away from him. That's absolute bullshit. Dillian Whyte will run away from no man. And I don't mean to say it like he's some sort of fucking Navy SEAL or something that can break your neck in 10 seconds. But I'm telling you, people, I've been around Dillian Whyte. I've been around him. That man fears nobody. So the idea of Deontay Wilder saying, that Dillian Whyte kind of ran away from him is just absolute bullcrap. Bullcrap. That Deontay Wilder talks a lot of nonsense. He really does. I know, some of you are fans of him. I'm a fan of him to an extent. But he does chat a lot of nonsense. He really does. And the thing that angers me the most is that we will probably never, ever see it. We will probably never, ever see Dillian Whyte versus Deontay Wilder. I'm not a fan of fighters fighting outside of the ring, but I don't mind a little beef. So I don't want them to get into it outside the ring because that's dangerous and we don't want to see that. But I don't mind a few verbals. Do you remember when Tony Bellew had verbals with Deontay Wilder? Do you remember that? And then a few others got involved. That I like. I would love for Dillian Whyte and his brother, whatever, his brother, Dean, whatever, I know some of you think he's not his brother. We're not going to get into that. I'd love for them to travel to America with a few mandem and see Deontay Wilder's people and have verbals. I'm not advocating that they go and have a fight. I'm not saying that, people. I would just love to see it. Because I'm telling you now, Dean Whyte and Dillian Whyte will run from no man. From no man. Especially Deontay Wilder. Just thought I'd say that. Oscar De La Hoya is fighting, isn't he? Oscar De La Hoya is fighting VITOR Belfort. They're having a boxing match. 12-ounce gloves. It's legit. What? Has this always happened? Has these comeback fights always been a thing? Or is it just like the craze now? Like this last 2 years has been the rise of the YouTubers, the TikTokers as well, having fights, by the way. TikTokers are fighting, by the way, people. There was an event last week with YouTubers versus TikTokers. And now we've got this craze of the old people coming back. I remember how upset I was when it was Nigel Benn. Remember Nigel Benn was going to come back and fight Sakio Bika, and it kind of got shut down, didn't it? If Nigel Benn was in America, he would have had that fight. I feel like we over here have got a bit more like, I don't know. We just don't accept those kind of things as much. In America, it almost seems like a whatever. Fucking Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. is fighting Hector Camacho on the weekend. They're having a fight. Chavez and Camacho. This is what Wilder said about Dillian Whyte as well. Whyte ain't nothing but shit to my toilet paper, the scum between my toes. Telling you now, Deontay Wilder hates Dillian Whyte more than he does Tyson Fury. Telling you now. Even if Wilder were to lose, I think that's still a good fight to make, but ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. Joe Joyce says, I look forward to getting an opportunity to punch Joshua up. Okay. Tyson Fury says this is in relation to Billy Joe Saunders retiring. Like, he spoke to Billy Joe Saunders and he's told Billy Joe Saunders, look, I've told Saunders recover, come back and win a world title or another world title. Don't know. So many good fighters at 160, 168. Ain't that easy. And this is a no disrespect to Billy Joe Saunders, but let's not forget who he won his title from at 168, Shefat Isifu. It's not like he went through, danger of any sense to win his world title. There aren't that many free world titles. And I do put that as a free world title. People say what you want. People might give me stick for saying that. It's true. There couldn't have been more easier routes in the last 10 years at middle or super middle than fighting Shefat Isifu for a world title. Let's have a look at what Shefat Isifu's done since. Who's he fought? He fought a guy called Levan, 15 and 16. Nicholas Okapafel, 11 and 1. Boxo Misic, 20 and 12. And a guy called Erices Torres, 20 and 17. That was a world title challenger. I shall rest my case. All right. Anything else before we wrap? Kind of got to go. I've got to get ready. Shit. I'm always doing this, by the way. I'm always like, oh, I've got to get ready. I've got to get ready. I'm always like lastminute.com. What's this? Loads of other little stuff. Let's quickly run through very quick. This is very quick hits. Hearn. Wilder's confidence must be absolutely shot to pieces. Made 642 excuses for loss. Not that many, but I get what he's doing. Jamal Charlo will just continue to fight fights like this if he can't get Canelo, Golovkin, others. No, Canelo and Golovkin are like, there are other guys out there at 160, 168. So that Canelo and Golovkin reach, there are other guys out there. So no, I don't agree with that. Teofimo Lopez says Josh Taylor is now avoiding him, using Undisputed label as cover. Why would Josh Taylor? I hate this talk from Teofimo. It's weird how he's got a bit like, I know he done this video the other day saying it's not arrogance, it's confidence. There's a tad bit of arrogance in there. Why is Josh Taylor going to avoid Teofimo Lopez? Like, Josh Taylor, blood. Unbeaten, 140-pound king is not avoiding Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is a good fighter, but there's nothing in Josh Taylor that is scared of Teofimo Lopez. Nothing at all. Anyway, we'll see. All right, guys, we're done. We gotta go. Peace and love.